Everyone, welcome back to AFTV. Hope you're having a good day. Look, let's go straight into it because there's been lots of transfer news, but more importantly, some really sad injury news for Gabriel Jesus because David Ornstein, okay, it's not full confirmation, but when he's coming out and saying this, we know the direction it's probably heading in. David Ornstein has tweeted this morning that Gabriel Jesus is set for a long spell out with suspected ACL rupture. Got to say before I read the rest of the tweet, fair play to a lot of the people on Twitter, physios, experts around this kind of thing who sort of, could see from, pictures and, got an idea from the footage that was looking like it was going to be pretty bad for Gabriel Jesus. They were the rumours, and it's been proved true. David Ornstein has said that further specialist reviews on the 27-year-old striker planned today to establish the full extent. Arsenal are open to doing business. Overseas loan seems most likely route for Arsenal at present. That's all via The Athletic if you want to read more on it. Now, look, of course, we're going to talk transfers. We're going to talk about what Arsenal have to do in response to this injury and the Saka injury and the Nwaneri injury. Let's just part that aside for a second, actually talk about this Gabriel Jesus injury, because this is really sad news for him. This is someone who had a bad knee injury in winter of 2022. Of course, he was at the World Cup. I think he played maybe one game, maybe two. Picked up this injury. He was on flying form for Arsenal. I know even before the World Cup, I think he went something like 7 games without a goal or something. But the football Arsenal were playing, so much of it was because of Gabriel Jesus. The levels that Arsenal got to in the 22-23 season, which a lot of people still claim is some of the best football we've seen, post Wenger. Some say it's the best of the Emirates era. Some certainly say it's the highest level we've got to under Mikel Arteta. Debate that amongst yourselves if you disagree in the comments. But so much of it was because of Gabriel Jesus. And I remember those performances at Bournemouth, barging off centre-backs, away at Palace, gliding through defenders. Everything, Martinelli and Saka were at their best when Gabriel Jesus was leading the line, bringing them into play, causing havoc in central areas and giving them the space to be on the end of moves. And Gabby hasn't looked the same since that injury, which kept him out for 4 months. He's had smaller knee injuries since. I think it might be 4 in total if you include that big one from the World Cup. And he's been in and out the side. And there's been moments like Sevilla away with the goal and then that assist for Martinelli where he looked utterly sensational as well in that game. You think, okay, there's bits of the old Jesus, but then Kai Havertz arrived, who slightly different profile. Arsenal evolved away from the slightly more chaotic attacking football. And he, with the knee injury, with the evolution of the team, and look, it's not just that, it's not just all gone against him. He also hasn't been good enough. That's also been a part of it. And it's sad for him, and now he's got a potentially worse injury, ACLs. I mean, look at Jurriën Timber, look at other players. You're looking at 9-10 months out, potentially a year. I think I'm no expert, but that's the understanding from how long it's taken from previous players, and I really feel sorry for him. I really, really do. Best wishes and speedy recovery to Gabriel Jesus, of course. Now, there's then the follow through, the what this means, what comes next, because Arsenal, unfortunately, will have to be business. Will have to be ruthless as a football club and as a business. From the Gabriel Jesus perspective, there were rumours he was going to leave this summer. Look, that move just isn't possible with an ACL injury. So, really cynical way to look at it. I totally understand that. Someone brought it up on the watch along. And I just thought, let's just not talk about that now. It's too early. The reality is that is a factor that needs to be talked about. He will be at Arsenal. He'll be given all the support, I've no doubt. He'll be given all the resources, all the access, everything to be looked after. And, he will probably be a part of Arsenal's second half of the 25-26 campaign. And that's what's next for Jesus, really. Get recovered and be a part of Arsenal's team next season. So Arsenal now in the immediate have to do business, but we knew this before the Saka injury. We knew this post the Saka injury. We certainly knew this post the Nwaneri injury. Now it feels like there's more eyes on the Cronkies and the board, the transfer committee, Mikel Arteta, and everyone. I mean, look, at this point, even Mikel Arteta, for whatever he might be saying in press conferences, obviously no question that he would want to do business. I mean, obviously, you can't. Whatever he says in press conferences, we can't be thinking that he's happy going to the second half of the season, Champions League and Premier League with 4 fit forwards, of which one of them he barely wants to use, and only one number 10 in Martin Odegaard because Waneri's out, so that's another option gone. There's just no way he's happy with the options he's got. And if he does, then that is extremely concerning. But I think we have to read between the lines a little bit with what's being said in press conferences and stuff in that front. Now, I'll read the David Ornstein quote one more time. Arsenal open to doing business, overseas loans seems the most likely route. And I think what we have to say is that could be as much information for David Ornstein as it is assumption. Overseas loans does feel like the most likely. And there had been rumours actually across last night that Arsenal had approached Juventus for Vlahovic on loan. So, that'd be a pretty sensational loan to pull off. That has always felt like a deal that if Arsenal were going to do it for me, it would have to be a permanent transfer. But okay, maybe that's the kind of loan that is doable, in which case, fine. That is for sure an upgrade on what we've got. But Arsenal, they've got to be looking at whatever £50 million signing they wanted to make in the summer and making it a £65 million signing this January. Whatever it's going to take, whatever extra it's going to cost, Arsenal have to be busy. I've got no doubt in the background they're working to see what they can do, but that's not really good enough. I don't really think, Arsenal fans are just going to accept, well, we tried. I think we'll accept, well, we tried if you sign one or two, serious forwards, and we don't get over the line. That is trying, but I don't think, just, being active in the window, seeing what's about, picking up a half-decent loan and, on we go. I don't think Arsenal fans would accept that as you really tried. I think they would take that as, come on, Man City are out there getting Marmoush. I think Liverpool are looking at a 19-year-old striker with extreme promise. And Chelsea are in talks for, Matis Tel from Bayern Munich. You've got business being done by clubs. PSG want Kvaratskhelia. So what does that mean for Barcola? I mean, this window is more active than I've seen in January more active than the last 2 Januaries for sure for me. So I don't really see. I don't know. In 2 Januaries ago, we picked up Trossard, Kivior, and Jorginho. But this is looking quite active for other clubs in terms of actually legitimate spending and very, very decent players making moves. So I just don't see any excuse for Arsenal. I think they need to get creative. You've got a scouting team for a reason. You've got a transfer committee for a reason. People say, well, what players are out there? Well, we can actually list 5, 6 very decent ones. So the point is, get creative. Why don't you get Mbemo before, or why don't you get the Mbemo player before he becomes Mbemo at Brentford? Where's that player? Because I can promise you, if we went to sign an Mbemo from Brentford, they're probably going to replace him with a really top, young, exciting winger who in 3 years' time is going to be worth 70 million. What are our scouts doing? It's players like that. What's out there for Arsenal? There are players out there, whether they're 2021 and extremely exciting, and maybe we just don't know it yet, or you're going to have to spend big bucks on a player you hope to get for a little bit less in the summer. Now, in terms of what is potentially happening in the window, in terms of concrete info, Ben Jacobs has said that Arsenal do retain a strong interest in Benjamin Sesko as one of their striker options. Sesko was sold on the Arsenal project last summer, but chose to extend at Leipzig. He felt the staying was the best for short-term development. Unclear if Sesko could be persuaded mid-season. Okay, so there's interest there. We knew that from the summer. Would Arsenal go? We mentioned Vlahovic. Those were rumours across Twitter yesterday. Sesko, similar-ish profile in terms of, strikers with some presence, but obviously slight differences between the two, but cool. You can sort of see some similarities in the kind of striker I was looking for there. Interesting, there's a striker, not a winger. I think that kind of makes sense because with Jesus out, that, basically Havertz is your only other 9, unless he's willing to play Trossard there, which I wish he would be more, but he doesn't seem willing to. And what you've got is Sterling, Trossard. We've got Sterling, Trossard, and Martinelli can all play on the left. Waneri, who will be back at the end of the month, and Sterling can play on the right. Saka is going to be back in a month and a half or so, a month. And Havertz is basically like your only striker. So I guess it makes sense that strikers are who Arsenal are targeting. So I mean, look, let's see, but there's just no excuses at this point now. Really, really isn't. The other thing that came out was this around Zinchenko. Let me just get the actual tweet up in front of me, because it looks like he could be off to Dortmund this month, which would be huge. Here we go. So this comes from Florian Plettenberg. Borussia Dortmund are exploring a deal to sign Alexander Zinchenko. Concrete talks have already taken place with the players' management in the last days and are ongoing. The 28-year-old left-back is keen to leave Arsenal. Gunners open for a loan with an obligation to buy for approximately 20 million euros. Dortmund have already shown interest last summer. So quite a bit to think about here. Don't love the idea of a loan with an obligation. Why can't we get 20 million euros now? I mean, basically, I think Chelsea are trying to sell Renato Vega, who they signed last summer. I keep stumbling on my words, sorry. Chelsea are trying to sell Vega, who they signed last summer. They want 30 million for him. Now, they probably won't get that, but they're looking to even get a fee now, and it's going to be a profit on what they spent for him. Zinchenko, we spent 35 million. It looks like we want about 17 million pounds in 6 months' time. So I don't really love that. But I guess if I was being really honest, he's probably no more than 17, 20 million pounds when he's behind basically Timber, Lewis Skelly now, Calafiori, and others. Even when we needed a goal the other day, I think we brought on Tierney ahead of Zinchenko, which was actually quite funny when you look back at that now. So, yeah, listen, my alarm's gone off. Apologies, people. Listen, this is a move that makes sense. We have like 7 left backs in the squad. I imagine it means that there's some encouragement on Tomiyasu's return to fitness soon. Ben White probably isn't too far away. Tierney was meant to go to Celtic. We brought him on the other day, and that seems to have quieted him down. So there's a case that Tierney could be staying. Maybe he goes in the summer for very, very little and actually plays a part in the squad now. Because if you're looking for that Zinchenko profile, Arteta probably feels he's found it in Lewis Skelly. So, yeah, look, I think this move goes ahead. I think the reason this has become public now, and I think the reason that talks are ongoing, is because actually everyone wants to do a deal. And it sounds like a really obvious thing to say. I'm not saying anything particularly clever here, but when everyone involved wants to do a deal, you just know they're going to come to a conclusion on it. It's like when Reece Nelson went on loan on deadline day the other day. You just knew everyone wanted to do a deal, from Fulham to Arsenal to Reece Nelson. You were just, and Raheem Sterling. I mean, that was another one. When we got Raheem Sterling, you just knew everyone wanted to make that one happen. There's no one, whether it be the player or the selling club, that are begrudgingly in these talks. And with Zinchenko to Dortmund, that's exactly how this feels. Arsenal will be very happy to do the deal, secure some funds for the future. Zinchenko can go and play Champions League football and go play in Germany. Probably do really well at Dortmund. I can imagine him, looking really good there. Dortmund want to do the deal. Clearly, they've come in for him. And this one will just get done, in my opinion, in January. But let's wait and see if it develops further, because I did think Kieran Tierney to Celtic was going to get done, and that's gone really, really quiet. So, everyone, that's the kind of roundup. A lot of it won't have been covered on Transfer Daily because it's come out very, very recently. So, go check out everything else that's been covered by Robbie on Transfer Daily. But it was worth doing this video too, just to cover everything on the latest transfer front. Gabriel Jesus, wish you a speedy recovery. Arsenal, you've got to get business done. Vlahovic, Sesko, whoever it might be, strikers are getting talked about now. And of course, we're now in this situation with Zinchenko to Dortmund. Let's see what happens there. Hope you enjoyed this video, everyone. Let us know your thoughts about it all in the comment section below, and we'll catch you very soon.